Welcome back to the Two Marks and a Spark Wrestling Podcast, or whatever the fuck this thing is this week. I'm Ben Shrewsbury. I have no fucking clue what's going on. That's just normal. I'm here with a demented old circus monkey who may or may not have herpes. His name is Uncle Russ.
Hey, no, I got it. I got over it. I got the chlamydia now.
Okay. Well, welcome back to this fucking shit.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
And canceled. You guys had a good run. Canceled.
Okay.
Well, shit.
I guess that's it.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us for however long this was. I guess we're canceled now. Okay, I'm kidding. We're moving on.
Yeah.
The red light's still on. I'm gonna just keep doing a show and hope it goes up. Anyway, hi Russ.
Hi, Ben. How's your week?
Well, kind of shit. How's yours?
Not too bad. It's kind of hot and humid, and when I was young,
it's
I
hotter
used
than balls.
to love that kind of stuff, I didn't mind the heat and the humidity, and I used to get sunburned in the summer and walk around barefoot and sweat like a pig. But now I'm old and fat and out of shape, and I got to have the goddamn air conditioner going 24/7.
I have the goddamn air conditioner and a ceiling fan going right now. So
there you go.
It gets hotter than balls in here with all these lights on. Russ, I have to ask you.
Yeah.
I know we're going to talk about Smackdown later, but how about that main event angle?
It was interesting. It was a little bit too long, but it was good.
They farted around, but we'll talk about that later. The big news of the week, of course, June 17th. CM drunk, CM skunk, CM funk, CM punk.
Like Mussolini or Kennedy.
I'm the cult of personality.
Well, she's got great entrance music. I'll give him that.
Man,
he is a great performer. He's a great talker, but I just don't love the guy because of the way he acts. And those of you that are hardcore CM Punk fans, good for you. I got no problem with you. I'm not putting anybody down. I'm just saying that he acts like a prima donna. He's pissed me off too many times, and I'm going to watch him. I'm probably going to enjoy a lot of what he does. His matches are superb. But
Russ, we don't have a choice but to watch him. We cover AEW. It's what we do.
Yeah. Well, he's gonna. I just think sooner or later, the conflict will get the best of him. Because he did. It seems like whether he's right or wrong, he has a pattern of just not being able to work with people.
See, in WWE, he was right. You know what I mean?
Sure. But he also, I still, I've heard his own account of how he handled that whole situation, and I sympathize with it, but I took strong exception to the way he handled it. I ain't going to go into detail because I'll sound like an old fart, but there's many, many ways that he could have handled that differently early on that would have led to a different outcome.
Well, yeah.
Of course, that's easy for me to say. I've never worked for Vince McMahon before, so maybe I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm just speculating from the point of view of someone who doesn't work in wrestling, never has, and never could, but just as a fan.
Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Uncle Russ has never worked for Vince McMahon.
That's right.
We move on.
He recruited me many times, but I turned him down.
In other news, the sky is in fact blue.
Yeah, he wanted to bring me in to manage Bastion Booger or something like that. I can't remember.
I imagine you and Bastion Booger.
Oh man, talk about adipose tissue. Woo!
The internet memes that would have spawned from that.
Yeah.
My God.
Or don't forget his single appearance as Friar Ferguson.
Oh boy. Do we want to talk about this Raw show even though fucking nothing happened?
Yeah, let's talk about Raw. I wouldn't say nothing happened, but
Pretty close.
there weren't any big surprises.
Well, this show starts with the new World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins.
Right. By the way, they're in Albany, New York at the MVP Arena. And what I wondered is, do they mean Montel Vontavious Porter Arena?
I would hope so. That would be
awesome.
Fucking brilliant.
Yes.
Here
comes Seth.
He takes forever to get to the ring. He enters through the crowd
for 2-3 minutes.
He enters through the crowd, and I don't mind Seth entering through the crowd. My only issue with it is he's so over now that like they're just not letting him get to the ring.
Yeah.
He gets that
kind of things happen. Then the segments start running long, and somebody down the card is going to get screwed out of their TV time.
Well, what bothered me about this whole thing is not the stupid "you deserve it" chant, for as much as those bothered me.
Yeah.
What bothered me was Seth goes to talk, and then AJ Styles from Friday Night Smackdown.
Yeah, we're on the same page there. And I knew as soon as they came out and talked, they were going to have a tag team match. I just felt it. And I'm like, this is why the fans do not take these brand splits seriously, because they can't even keep it up for 2 freaking weeks. Go ahead.
Russ, I need to ask.
Yeah.
Outside of the Bloodline and occasionally Cody Rhodes, do you take anything on this television program seriously?
No, I don't. It's entertainment. It's a TV show.
Again, outside of the Bloodline and occasionally Cody.
Right. Well, I don't even take them that seriously. I mean, because it's still just entertainment, but.
Anyway, AJ literally starts his promo by saying, I'm not supposed to be here.
Which is obviously not true, because if he wasn't supposed to be there, he wouldn't be there.
Then if you're not supposed to be here, AJ, why did they play your music?
Right. They had it queued up.
Oh.
That's why.
Again, I don't feel the need to say this constantly, but I do feel the need to say it here. Folks, the brand split does not exist.
Yeah, it's just a gimmick. It was just a ratings ploy.
Yep, that's all it was.
That's all it's ever been, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah, pretty much. I don't know.
AEW's brand split will be a little bit more.
Do you think they're actually going to
if they do it differently? We'll talk about that later. Sorry.
Do you think they're actually going to do a brand split over there? I don't. Anyway. I mean, I think they have to, but.
Well, what I read is that they're going to start with a soft split and then progress to a more hard brand split, depending on how the reactions go and the segments they got planned go, then they'll kind of, we'll see.
You're implying Tony Khan has a plan. That's dangerous.
Well, he has a plan to keep on writing the whole damn thing with zero help from anybody. He definitely. Well,
Bryan Danielson, I guess the rumor is now, and they semi-confirmed this on the media call last week, Bryan Danielson has been doing quite a bit in terms of creative.
Okay.
And if you look at the Rampage card for this week, you can tell. Because the Rampage card for this week is loaded.
I'm gonna watch that when I get home.
Well, we keep moving here on Raw.
Right.
And Styles just compliments Rollins, and they're just happy-go-lucky best friends now that they beat the shit out of each other for 20 minutes. And then here comes the Judgment Day, and this leads to a tag match. The crowd was hot, but I personally did not care.
Right away where this was going, tag team match.
We get a segment with Adam Pearce backstage on the phone trying to get this tag match approved.
Apparently he didn't have to have approval for him to just walk in set on live TV with music queued up. He didn't need permission for that. You see, these storylines constantly it's like they constantly want to remind us that you wrestling fans are stupid. You're all a bunch of suckers. We can do anything and you buy it. Brother.
Yep. Pretty much.
Do I sound too cynical?
No, the perfect amount of cynicism, really. We had Ricochet versus The Miz.
Yes. Money in the Bank qualifying match. And The Miz, he can go. He can do these 10-minute matches pretty good. He's a good worker, but I think he's doing what he's doing now. Mid-card. He's got 2 kids and a family, so he probably doesn't mind not being champion. If I was in his position, I would not be upset about that.
If you were married to Maurice, I don't think you'd give a shit about anything.
Well, yeah, you never know. Just
anyway,
she's pretty, though, doesn't mean that she's sweet.
That's fair enough.
Right.
Ricochet ends up winning in about 9 to 10 minutes here, and Ricochet winning was the right decision.
Of course it was, and I couldn't see him doing anything else. I love Ricochet's solo matches. We're getting more of them. I'm glad we're not seeing him teamed with the big monster.
The big idiot.
Goofball, I call him. Sorry. I mean, I wouldn't say that if he was standing there because he could choke slam me down into the basement, But
well, Russ, here's the problem. Braun Strowman is hurt.
Yeah.
With something. We know that.
Right.
And Ricochet's not winning Money in the Bank.
No, but he's getting a little bit more push here. Makes sense.
Well, at any rate, after
I like the outcome of this Money in the Bank qualifying match. Not the other one, but this one I liked.
What other one are you talking about?
I'm talking about the other one later in the show.
Oh, we'll get there.
Yep.
Stratus, Stark, and Lynch. We get this schmozzy segment. Stratus comes out. This whole thing fell apart pretty much instantly.
Yeah.
Actually, it really didn't fall apart until Zoe Stark came out because Zoe and Trish were tripping all over each other. And
looks a little awkward.
Becky came out and saved this segment
by attacking them and shutting them up so we didn't have to listen to them trying to talk and cut a promo. I think Trish's ring work is not bad, but I think her promos were god awful, and they always have been.
They've gotten better.
Not a bit of believability in her gimmick.
They have gotten better, but that is not saying much.
Yeah.
Anyway, they beat the shit. Zoe and Becky beat the shit out of, or not Zoe and Becky. Zoe and Trish, I'm sorry, beat the shit out of Becky.
Right.
Zoe came out of this thing looking like $1 million. I will say that.
I think she always looks good, like her.
But she came out of this looking really strong. So, we'll see what happens with that. But I would presume it's either her and Becky at Money in the Bank, and then probably her and Lita against Zoe and Trish, or Becky, Trish 2 somewhere down the road. But my problem with this whole thing is, unless Trish is sticking around for an extended period of time, for Zoe Stark to inevitably turn babyface
Yeah.
and feud with Trish. Unless that's the plan, this whole thing sucks.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see where they're going.
If the plan here is eventually Zoe versus Trish, I'm fine with it. We got Indus Sheer versus two guys I didn't get their name of.
I did not, and I couldn't find it either. Two enhancement talent. Two guys from the local indie promotion.
Graves identified one of them as Javier Bernal is what I have, but I don't know if that's right. I also don't know who that is. I just wrote down Javier Bernal and some guy.
Okay, there you go.
We got a Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn segment after a recap package. This was fucking great.
Yes.
Kevin Owens comes out wearing a We the Ones shirt, which I thought was just...
Yeah, I like it.
Kevin Owens, when he wants to be, is extremely funny. And he was here. Owens and Zayn are like, we won. And Roman got exactly what he had coming to him, which is true. And then here come Imperium. And it seems like we're going to be getting Imperium versus Owens and Zayn, and I am very okay with that.
Yes, but first we get to see him take on Alpha Academy.
This match was a lot of nothing.
This match had all kinds of stuff going on. We even had one point where Valhalla comes into the ringside and she chases away
Kevin Owens.
Maxine Dupree.
Well, and she chased Kevin Owens off too, though.
Courting Otis.
Well, Kevin Owens ran away too, though.
Yeah.
Well, at any rate, Kaiser and Vinci won in less than probably 5 minutes, but
yes,
this match was fine.
Yeah, Alpha Academy, dumb gimmicks, but I think they're solid wrestlers. Especially Chad Gable. He's a great technical wrestler. I wish that he was higher on the card and was being used more seriously, and I wish that the fans took him more seriously. I'm not knocking him because he got shoosh over and he got over the goofy persona. I mean, he's come a long way since being Kurt Angle's lost son, but I still think he needs to be elevated as a more serious competitor. And I can't see him doing that when he's tag teaming with Otis.
Well, I agree with you on that.
And I'm not knocking Otis because Otis definitely has some talent too.
We get a backstage segment with Bailey, Io, Raquel, and Shotzi.
Looks like they're going to be splitting this up. It doesn't look like that's what's coming. Maybe Io going babyface.
Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. I mean, here's the thing, though. I think Io needs to win a belt before they do that. And I don't know that she's going to beat either woman who has either belt right now.
Yeah.
Unless she wins Money in the Bank.
You know, that match, though, from the last pay-per-view, the Io Sky, that really was a very good match. That's one of the, you know, I'm not a huge fan of her. I don't hate it, but I'm not a huge fan of her look and her gimmick. But, and I'm not into the, you know, the Japanese female screaming, you know. They all reminded me of Yoko Ono trying to sing when they do that. But she's a hell of a wrestler. And for that aerial style, very impressive. I think she's got a good future.
She is probably going to win Money in the Bank, I would have to think.
Well, that would be a good way for them to begin to further this tension with the, you know, I mean, if she went over Bailey sometime down the road, that would really elevate her.
I don't want to think Bailey is back just to elevate people, but it kind of seems like that's what
Well,
Bailey's.
she's a veteran now. She's been doing this a long time, so.
But it feels like they brought Bailey back just to prop up EO and Dakota eventually. Because this is eventually going to lead to both EO and Dakota getting a push.
Yeah.
Eventually. Obviously, Dakota will probably be second, but Dakota's also much younger than EO, so that does make sense. Then we got a Candice LeRae video package that I thought was the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
Miss LeRae, yeah.
This Candice LeRae video package was the single stupidest thing I've ever fucking seen in my life. Oh my god, I'm not gonna harp on it too much, but it was bad. I don't know.
Yep.
I like Candice LeRae, but this video package was trash. Anyway. We got the 4-way for the women's tag titles.
Yeah. What'd you think of this one?
It was fine.
Shayna Baszler. And then we had Chelsea.
I think the wrong team won. How about that?
What's that?
I think the wrong team won.
You think so?
I think it would have been great. Granted, it would have been purely for comedy, but I think it would have been great if they would have given it to Sonya and Chelsea.
Well, I really like Shayna Baszler a lot, and I can tolerate.
So do I, but I hate Ronda Rousey.
I can tolerate Ronda Rousey as long as she's tag team with Shayna.
I personally cannot.
I'm surprised that Ronda Rousey's still around doing this, though. It must be making good money because she's made it pretty clear that she doesn't like wrestling. She doesn't like the fans. And
no,
I'm like,
she's made it pretty clear she doesn't like the way WWE does business. Which,
well, then go work someplace else.
Do you think if Ronda Rousey popped free and got healthy because she's still dealing with some injury stuff, if she left and like a year later, if Tony Khan called her and said, "You're healthy now, you're in a better frame of mind, here's what we want to do: 6 matches a year."
Yeah.
6 matches a year. And you come in, you have pretty much free reign to do whatever, but we're not going to put the belt on you because you're only going to wrestle 6 matches a year. I think that could do
to sell tickets.
Huh?
She could be an attraction to sell tickets.
I mean, it would make money. You know what I mean? Like, and she would pop a rating for AEW. Because I think that audience would take more kindly to her than the WWE audience, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I think she's more built for that AEW audience in terms of the way she works. But who knows? We had McDonough and Ziggler almost immediately go to a double count out. This should have been a longer match.
For some reason, McDonough would just wouldn't listen to the referee and just wanted to beat the piss out of Dolph Ziggler outside the ring. So we'll probably see him wrestle again here.
We got a Cody Rhodes promo that I thought was one of his better promos that he's cut since the Roman thing.
Not bad. Not bad at all.
This was one of his better promos since Mania.
Yeah.
And I don't know this, but him mentioning Cena here makes me think that there is an outside chance he's wrestling Cena at some point, like this year.
Think so.
Because why would he have said that?
I don't know.
That doesn't make
a reaction.
No, Cody Rhodes doesn't say anything without, like, I don't know if you've noticed this about Cody, but everything he says generally has a reason.
Yeah.
He's not like some of these guys who go out there and just say a whole bunch of dog water. When he goes out there, he's talking about something, and he means
he takes it very seriously. He's obviously got a great connection with the fans.
Well, here's why I like
believe
Cody.
him.
For as much as I think they butchered his character having him lose at Mania, Cody's always been very believable since he's come back to WWE. He's very believable. And his character's very believable. And I think they what?
Part of why it's believable because he's always getting his ass kicked.
Well, here's the thing. I think a last man standing match is probably the best way to go for him and Brock. Because last man standing matches are generally pretty well done by WWE. I think we can agree on that. WWE does last man standing matches pretty well.
Yeah.
They know how to do that, and Brock is very good at those as well.
Yes.
I don't know that Cody's ever been in one.
I don't know either. I mean, but they've had a lot of great ones over the years. I think of Bret Hart.
Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens a couple of years ago. Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns last year.
Yeah.
Remember that one with Brock and Roman where they tipped the ring over and they basically destroyed ringside.
Yeah.
I mean, that was one of my favorite matches last year, not because I thought it was one of the best matches. I just thought it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And sometimes wrestling just needs to be fun. I think we can agree on that.
Yes.
It doesn't always have to be great in-ring work. Sometimes it can just be.
Well, it can't always be.
But if it's fun, you're not going to care.
Right.
We had a Kathy Kelly interview segment talking to Riddle. I thought this was terrible.
Yeah, I don't like Riddle. I'm over him. At least he had some clothes on.
Wow.
You know, when he wrestles, he's barefoot and he runs around in his little panties, you know.
Then we got another Kelly interview segment with Rousey and Baszler.
Yeah. Mean and nasty bitches.
That's what they are.
Yep.
Then we got Nakamura versus Bronson Reed.
Yes. And boy, I was pulling for Bronson Reed. I thought, can this big guy be in a ladder match? Of course he can.
Well, here's the thing. Would you be surprised if they find a way to shoehorn him in there anyway?
No.
Because I don't know if you've noticed this. For as much as there's little Vince-isms in these shows now, because he's kind of changing things here and there.
That's what I hear.
A lot of Triple H's guys are still getting pushed. LA Knight.
Yeah.
That's a Triple H guy.
Right.
Nakamura, Triple H guy. Bronson Reed, Triple H guy.
Yep.
Hell, Seth Rollins is like the ultimate Triple H guy.
Yeah, these are all people that he kind of worked with in NXT.
So, for as much as everybody's complaining that Vince is ruining the show and nobody's getting over, LA Knight is prime example number one. And here's the thing. If Vince was fully back in control, we would be getting rematches every single week.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not. We're not getting the same 3 matches every week.
Well, I don't think it's likely he's in total control either because of his age, the state of his health.
I also think like the show has been too good. I'm not saying the shows have been great recently, but I'm saying the shows have been too good for Vince to be the one completely in charge here. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we've seen too much of Triple H. If Vince was booking this thing, we wouldn't see Triple H at all. We've seen a ton of him since Mania.
Yeah.
I mean, and maybe that's an Endeavor call. Maybe Endeavor wants Triple H on TV more.
Could be.
Because he is running creative. Maybe they want him on TV more, which is fine. I'm cool with that. But we got a Byron Saxton interview. Speaking of people I don't want on TV, Byron Saxton.
Now, don't pick on old Brian. He didn't do nothing or Byron, I'm sorry.
His real name is Brian, so you could.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Well, I just found out about that like 6 months ago, so there you go. But he interviews Judgment Day. He gives Rhea a old pat on the back for beating poor Natalia in 20 seconds or whatever the hell that was last week.
That was a quick one.
And anyway, Byron wanted to know who was going to be facing Rollins and Styles. They didn't say. We got a Memorial Day video package.
Yep. Right. You always do something like that on the patriotic holidays.
And then we got AJ Styles and Finn Balor, or not, well,
AJ
sorry.
and Seth.
AJ and Seth. I apologize. My notes, I
Right.
just completely butchered.
And they made it look like it was going to be Damian Priest and Dominic.
We got the better match.
And then Finn Balor attacks, I think it was AJ from behind. Or
We had a
Seth Rollins. I can't remember.
We had a very fun match to end the show here. Seth and AJ get the win, as they should.
Yep. Right.
But it looks like Priest is going to be getting a World Heavyweight Championship match next week, as Seth issued an open challenge. So we're getting Seth versus Priest for the World Heavyweight title. Seth is going to win.
It'd be good, though.
And we just spent 40 minutes on a show I expected us to take 10 on.
Well, that's all right.
Oh, freaking well. Before we talk about Dynamite, I want to take a minute because we're going to be talking a lot about this over the next number of weeks because it's coming out this month. We do have AEW Fight Forever coming out. We found out more this week.
Right.
The pricing for this game is interesting. And here's what I want to point to here. And if you don't care about video game industry conversation and where AEW Fight Forever falls in that, skip ahead in the video. We will be talking about Dynamite very shortly. But Fight Forever is coming out at a weird time in the year. It's coming out at the end of June. Traditionally, that's a pretty dead time for video games. That's the first weird thing about this game.
Yeah.
There's a lot. We'll get to it. Second, the pricing is weird. Average MSRP for a video game now goes between $60 and $70. They are charging $60, but here's the interesting bit, and here's what we found out this week. The deluxe edition for the game, which will include the season pass, all the DLC, and all the good extra stuff, will be $80. Now, that's interesting because WWE's comparative version of their game for 2K23 was $100. So AEW is strategically, it seems, making their game cheaper.
Yeah.
WWE was $70 MSRP, AEW is $60. WWE's deluxe edition was $100, AEW's is $80.
Yeah.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you put into it. They're certainly trying to compete. I think that's a big thing here.
Right.
But the issue right now with trying to compete this year in terms of the video game industry is there's a lot of games coming out in the fall. they're not going to be on an Xbox Game Pass or anything like that, so they don't have those built-in player numbers.
Right.
For those of you that don't know what Xbox Game Pass is, think of it like a Netflix for video games. If you want to know more about what Game Pass is and are curious as to what the hell I'm talking about, Google is a thing. It will tell you everything you need to know. I'm not going to go too far into detail here. But essentially, they are really trying hard to compete. I don't know why they're coming out in June. That seems weird to me. Now, granted, they weren't going to launch in September, which was the next logical time you could have done this, because September is when all the big hitters are going to start to come out, and you don't want to be dealing with the big hitters. You just don't. And no, there's no Call of Duty this year. For those of you in the comments that are gamers that I know are going to tell me, oh, but there's no Call of Duty this year. No, but you got Starfield and Forza both coming out probably in the fall. So, and those are going to sell a ton of copies. Now, granted, both of those are going to be on Game Pass. So I think the smarter move for AEW would have been to talk to Microsoft and get some sort of Game Pass deal done. They didn't do that. That would have been the smarter move in terms of player numbers, because they're going to have cross-play, so it doesn't matter what system you're playing on. You're going to be able to play with your friends anyway. The smarter move here would have absolutely, positively been to go to a Game Pass and say, look, this is our first game. Help us.
Sure.
And Microsoft would have done it. But they didn't do that. And I frankly don't understand why.
Tony Khan doesn't like to ask for help.
But Tony Khan's not the one overseeing the video game. It's Kenny Omega.
Oh, well, maybe he doesn't like to ask for help.
Well, he certainly seems to like to ask for help on television. He asks all his friends for help.
Mm-hmm.
The Young Fucks, the Cowboy.
Right.
Adam Cole for a while.
Right.
I don't know.
I just saw a little clip of the how the game looks.
It
looked good. It looks like I don't know what you call it, the graphics, they look very, very old. They look like video games from a couple decades ago.
They do look old. They look like they're from 2006. I mean, and that's another thing. That's probably another reason they should have gone to Game Pass. Like they cannot compete sales wise. I don't care what this fucking thing costs.
Right.
And the fact that it's going to be $60 looking like it does.
Right. A lot of people just seeing what it looks like might pass.
Now, graphics aren't everything. Obviously, the game being fun is going to be important.
Sure.
I don't know. I'll talk more about Fight Forever as we find out more, and I'm sure we're going to be finding out a lot more over the next.
Well, you're planning on getting in, I assume.
Yeah, I'll talk more about it, and obviously when the game comes out June 29th, I don't know. I'll probably do a 2 marks extra on that, because that's the week of Money in the Bank. So I'll probably do a 2 marks extra on that. Maybe we slide it in to our Money in the Bank review. But
yeah, that's July 1st, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And then the only reason I say that might be a 2 marks extra is, well, we could slide it into the show on the 9th too, but we'll see. We'll see what we're gonna do. AEW Dynamite, we're finally there. Holy hell.
Yeah.
This was a show.
This was packed, wasn't it?
This was something. Not a whole lot of talking on this one.
No, not as much.
We had
you like Bandito, right? Is he one of your favorites?
Yes. We had Moxie
Lucha
Mox and the
Brothers.
Funky Bunch. We had Moxie Mox and the Funky Bunch coming out. Moxley, Castagnoli, and Yuta against the Lucha Brothers and Bandito. This was a very good match.
I like every match Blackpool Combat Club is in.
Bandito came out looking absolutely ridiculous.
Well, I thought that was par for the course for Lucha Libre. Sorry, I'm being a smart ass.
Well, and Yuta gets a pin again.
Yes. Boy, this guy is really getting a lot of wins, a lot of pinfalls.
Wow. Are they going to have him be the one to beat Wardlow? I would have to think so.
Oh, that'd be fine with me. That'd be just great. But I like the arrogant, overconfident commentary we get from
Danielson. He's so good.
Yes, he is. And, and when this guy hurts somebody, he just laughs and chuckles like an evil fucker.
He's such a good heel.
He is superb as a heel.
Now, I didn't hear this. I saw it, but I didn't hear this Marvez interview with the Bucks and Paige.
Oh yeah, that was let's see, I wrote down something here. Backstage, yeah, Marvez, he's with the Elite. And where's Kenny Omega? And one of the Bucks is talking about it. His explosive sneaker. I thought, you dumb son of a bitch. Explosive sneaker. Now we're going to get an explosive sneaker match.
I read online that it kind of seemed like they were implying Kenny had gone to Japan.
Yes, that's the way I took it. Yeah, he's out of the country, but he's not in Canada. And then, but then the Dark Order, several guys from the Dark Order came around and interrupted him. And like, oh, we don't want to bother you, Hangman. You go ahead and hang out with your new best friends. So maybe they're going to get pissed off and try to beat him up or something. If you're the Dark Order, I mean, shouldn't you be heels? I mean,
don't you just have to feel screwed by this whole thing if you're the Dark Order too?
Well, been screwed since day one. Nothing has gone right for that faction, They've got some good workers, but
okay, let's count the things that have gone wrong for the Dark Order.
Well, their founder died for one thing, Their head guy.
Well, no, let's start from the beginning. This faction started and had no direction for 6 months.
Yeah.
Before Brody showed up.
I had no idea what the hell they were doing. They were just making it up as they went along.
When Brody Lee shows up,
it started to feel like something.
Brody Lee shows up, and it feels like, okay, maybe we're getting somewhere here.
Right.
And then, because this faction is fucking cursed, a pandemic happens on the night Brody Lee debuts.
Right.
And the world goes into lockdown.
Oh, I tell you, man, that pandemic, the pandemic matches for this company and I'd say this company did better with their programming than WWE did. I like the small crowds they had. They had small crowds there in Jacksonville that felt like the old studio wrestling. WWE, I did not enjoy their, piped in crowd and all that bullshit. Did not like it a bit. And I thought, what a horrible thing to happen when Drew McIntyre finally gets his chance to shine and the fucking pandemic hits and he's got to be champion with no crowd. And I thought, man, that guy got screwed by circumstances beyond his control.
And then Brody Lee, who, mind you, was probably, what would you say, at the time that he was around in AEW for the 9 months that he was there, he was probably what, the third or fourth hottest act in the company?
Yeah, he was doing very, very well. Yeah.
And he was in this hot program with Cody Rhodes. He won the TNT title.
Right.
He lost it because he was taking time off.
Well, we didn't know he was sick.
And he wasn't sick when he took the time off, but he got sick. And then Brody Lee
Right.
passes away. And it's like, end the Dark Order. It's over.
Yeah.
And then they turned babyface and got over.
But they're still called the Dark Order. Darkness and evil, but we're the good guys, right?
Well, as if things couldn't get any worse, then the one redeeming thing about this faction, which was Anna Jay was there, basically carrying these fucking morons. She just up and left randomly. Then they started running with Hangman. And then he wins the world title and they celebrate with him and everything is great for 3 months. And then he leaves.
Yeah.
So this faction is fucking cursed.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Hey, don't forget now, important thing, and this has to happen every week. This is the most important thing on the show. An announcement from Tony Khan. That's they ought to call it the Tony Khan announcement show. God damn.
Tony Khan.
And to nobody's surprise, he says,
no, we're not there yet. We're not there yet because we get the Shivani segment first. Where
I skipped a line. Sorry, on my notes, I skipped a line. You're right. Sorry.
Oh well, Jay White and Juice Robinson are out there,
and they were giving poor Tony a hard time.
They were harassing Tony Schiavone.
Yes, they were. Poor
Tony Schiavone could have filed a lawsuit.
Gives him so much shit. No.
And this was not the end of Tony Schiavone getting shit.
Oh no. Poor Tony, man. He gets it from everybody. I think about the only people that let him actually stand there and hold the microphone and do the interview old school style is FTR. Everybody else, they just grab the microphone and start walking around the ring and cutting the promo and like.
I mean, Callis will let him.
Doing there.
Callis will let him hold the microphone.
Yes.
Because Callis. I mean, right. Callis is
old school.
Callis is a prick, though.
Don Callis?
Yeah.
He might be a prick, but I love him.
Me too.
Yep.
Anyway, this all leads to Starks and FTR coming out. I would presume Bullet Club Gold is getting a third member.
Right.
Predictions?
Well. What would shock everybody the most? Ricky Starks, right?
CM Punk.
CM Punk could be, yeah.
Imagine CM Punk in Bullet Club Gold. Would that not be ironic? Especially because they're
ironic, and it would be entertaining for a while until CM Punk gets mad about something and takes his ball and goes home again.
Well, no, it would be ironic because CM Punk is best friends with FTR.
Oh yeah, that's correct. They are good friends.
That's why it would be ironic. Anyway, Starks challenges Jay White to a match next week. That's going to be fucking great.
I think it'll be good too. I am very impressed with both of them. I think it would, after all of that feuding, if he ended up joining them, that would be really ironic also.
I think it would be a good swerve, though.
Yeah, a good swerve or a bad swerve.
It depends on how they do it.
Right.
Then we get Russ's favorite segment every week.
The announcement.
CM Punk is back.
Right. They gave the crowd a chance to go, CM Punk. CM Punk.
Now, this was met with both cheers and a lot of booing.
It was a mixed reaction. And I think that's the way it's going to be from
everywhere
now on.
But Chicago. Everywhere but Chicago.
Right.
They won't boo him in Chicago.
Probably not.
But
if I saw him in Chicago, I'd probably boo him just to be different,
Get the shit beat out of you too.
No, they wouldn't. They wouldn't touch me.
Russ, you're a
I'll pull out
demented old
my-
circus monkey, not a
I'll pull
weightlifter.
out my pocket knife and stab him.
Good luck getting a pocket knife into the United Center.
I'll smuggle it in my rectum.
Are we back to smuggling things in the rectum?
I guess so.
For those of you that don't get that haven't been watching this show, first of all, shame on you.
Oh yeah, I'd never do that. I'm a pacifist. I would never hurt anybody unless I had to.
Second of all, me and Russ occasionally joke about hiding things in our rectum to get them into the arena.
That's right.
Such as hard drugs and weapons.
Hard drugs, weapons. I don't know. Gold bullion would probably go nice in there, you know. Put a couple of gold bars up in there.
What is this fucking show? Anyway.
I don't know. Keep going.
Is this a wrestling show or a comedy bit?
A little of both, I guess.
Or are you still trying to figure that out your own self?
No. Well, hey, moving along, let's talk about our buddy Big Bill.
We had this great three-way.
Yeah, it wasn't bad, was it?
I thought Strickland came out of this looking amazing. And Strickland is so good.
Swerve versus Big Bill versus Trent Beretta.
I mean, take it or leave it with Big Bill, but the other two are great.
Bill, he is what he is, he's a big
guy named Bill.
Yeah, you know who he reminds me of a little physically is Hulk Hogan.
Bastion Booger.
No, Hulk Hogan.
That's another inside joke.
There you go.
Me and Russ, half of what me and Russ talk about is like old 80s wrestling references that nobody gets.
That's right.
Like Bastion Booger and Iron Mike Sharp. Russ's favorite wrestlers, Bastion Booger and
Well, I like Barry Horowitz.
Don't we all?
Yes.
Anyway, Swerve wins. Swerve definitely came out of this looking the strongest.
Yeah.
Trent got pinned and looked like a little pussy in the process.
Trent, of his tag team, though, he's far and away the better, I think. I think he carries the tag team.
I think Chuck's fine, but Trent is definitely a better worker. We got a video package for Chris Statlander that I thought was very well done.
Yep.
And then we got the most awkward Renee Paquette interview segment I have ever fucking seen in my life.
God. Boy, they're really pushing daddy ass for some reason that I don't get. Billy Gunn, now known as they never say Billy Gunn. Now he's daddy ass. Yeah, this man deserves one more title reign. Well, I disagree. I'd rather see Jeff Jarrett have another title reign than
Shut the fuck up. I will.
I know you want to reach through the screen and slap me for saying something nice about Jeff Jarrett, but
no, I don't want to reach through the screen and slap you for saying something nice about Jeff Jarrett. I want to reach through the screen and slap you for implying Jeff Jarrett should hold a title in the year 2023.
Well, yeah, I didn't mean to imply anything so ridiculous. Of course not.
How old is Jeff Jarrett? Hang on.
I think he's about 54, 55.
We're going to take our usual break to BS here for a second. So Jeff Jarrett is 55. How old is Billy Gunn?
40-something.
59.
59? Shit. He's in better shape than Jeff Jarrett. That asshole.
Was the pun intended there?
Yeah.
Anyway, this is the worst fucking segment I have seen in a long time.
This was something.
Did they bury Renee Paquette? Or is that just me?
I don't know. I felt sorry for her.
There was this awkward moment where Billy like hugged her, and I was like,
yeah.
I was like, what's happening?
It looked like he was being creepy with her.
You old bag.
I mean, good God, John Moxley. I thought maybe John Moxley was going to come around there and start stabbing him with a hunk of glass or some shit.
Would you have been that surprised?
No, I would have said, get him, cut his fucking throat.
Or would you have been like, okay, this is fine with me?
Yeah.
And then the police get called. John Moxley gets arrested for attempted murder.
That would be a great. That would be the perfect lead into a rematch with the deathmatch dude.
The deathmatch dude.
What's his name?
Gage.
Nick Cage. Yes, the drug addicted bank robber, death wrestling champion. And that's not an insult,
No.
Some of my best friends are drug addicted bank robbers,
Are you a drug addicted bank robber?
No.
Not anymore.
No, not anymore. I gave it up. Gave it up for Lent and never went back.
God damn it. This show's going to be 6 hours long. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Well, we had a short show last week, so we're making up for it now.
There you go.
If you didn't get enough of us last week, buddy, buckle in. So
well, anyway, we get Tony. Poor Tony's up again next. We ready to move on to Tony? Poor Tony.
Tony looks like he wanted to puke.
Yeah, he didn't. He doesn't like Don Callis,
And
he kept cutting his promo, but the crowd was doing their very best to drown him out.
Don Callis is the king of heat.
Boy, he gets it. He really knows how to get real heat from the crowd. They wanted to fucking kill him. You gotta love a talent like that. He's one of my all-time favorite heel manager type characters.
Would he ever be able to do this character in WWE?
No, I don't think he'll ever go back there again.
I don't think so either, but let's say him and Kenny would have gone to WWE. Do you think he would have been able to do this character?
No, they would have toned it down. They would have toned down the blood and the guts.
No, but Don himself doesn't do a lot of blood and guts. I'm talking about Don with his brashness and his egomaniacal insanity.
Well, if they would have let it, give him a free reign to do it, Here's obviously the guy that does not need scripted promos.
I would argue most people in the wrestling business do not need scripted promos.
I think you're right. I think that some of the ones that are in that trap just need someone to teach them to be confident, teach them how to be confident to ad lib.
Which is why AEW doing what they've done.
I think that some of the people that do the obviously scripted promos most of them, I think, would have to be able to come up with something better than what they're given to say.
Even bad AEW promos.
Down, especially a lot of the younger female wrestlers, and you just told them, look, you're giving scripted promos, you're having non-adult conversations about non-adult concerns, you're made to look petty and vain and shallow and stupid and bitchy. You can come up with something better for a promo to get yourself over than what you're being given by these fucking writers.
Even bad AEW promos are better than most of WWE's good promos.
There's a hand, you can count on like the fingers on one hand, the people in WWE that currently can do excellent, consistently excellent non-scripted promos.
Cody,
definitely.
Roman. I think Roman's the king of it.
Yep.
Heyman.
I think Rhea too.
I don't know how much Rhea is.
Heyman, you mentioned him. He's one of the greatest talkers ever.
Man, would you not kill for like babyface Heyman and heel Don Callis?
Oh yeah, that'd be interesting.
Because Heyman can pull the babyface off when he has to. Anyway, this whole thing, Callis is talking about how
Takeshita too. Takeshita with Don Callis. We forgot to mention him.
I think it's going to be Takeshita versus Omega at Forbidden Door.
Yeah, I think
and
so
too. I think that match is going to be fucking great.
I think it'll be good because, you know, I think this is a match that I would enjoy too. Not being anywhere near as big a Kenny Omega fan as you are, but that is a match that I look forward to.
They're going to put butts in seats for that show. I'm telling you. I think we're getting Okada versus MJF. And man, is that going to sell some tickets.
Yeah.
If that show's not sold out. Dude, Okada and MJF, if they don't go 45 minutes.
Well, you know, Don Callis, he says that Takeshita is he's better than Okada.
I think so. But
we'll see.
What we have to remember about Takeshita is he's technically on loan. He's not actually AEW talent. He's on loan.
From New Japan?
From DDT.
Okay, yeah.
Or from Noah, sorry. DDT, Noah, same company. But he's on loan from Noah.
Well, I like him. I like him a lot.
Now, could they have made a little pseudo trade like here's $100,000 we're going to buy out Takeshita? They could have done that, but
I could, but I would rather just trade wrestlers and let trade stars, you know, to do each other's shows. I'd rather do that on an ongoing basis.
I mean, that's probably what they're doing.
Yep.
Or what they will do. We got a highlight package of that terrible fucking ladder match. From
talking about Hart and Wardlow.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody was giving shit to Art Anderson about 6 months ago or so, maybe more than that. We're talking about pulling a gun out and shooting somebody. Now he's a fucking cannibal. You can see all the dried blood around his.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Art Anderson quit the company at one point, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Came back,
and then he just showed up again.
And I, you know, I'm the same age as Art Anderson, so every time I see him walk out, I think, boy, he looks out of shape. But then I shut my mouth because I look at myself and I think, yeah, you need a fucking room to talk.
Then we got Gates of Agony versus Cassidy and Darby.
Gates of Agony, I'm not that familiar with them. Where the hell are they from?
Ring of Honor.
Okay, that's why. I mean, I've heard of them, but I couldn't name either one of them. You probably could. What's their names?
One of them's Toa Liona. I think the other one is like Bishop Khan or
right.
Probably Khan. He's probably the long lost brother of Tony Khan.
But Darby gets that coffin drop and pins one of them.
Yes.
But then the Peanut Gallery has to come in there and start messing around.
The Mogul Embassy.
You know, Brian Cage and our old buddy Swerve.
It seems like Swerve wants that international title.
Yeah, he does, but he's got a not half of going into warm, humid climates and wearing a fucking stocking cap on his head. Knitted woolen stocking cap, you know.
Well,
I wonder if he's got long johns on under his gear.
Orange Cassidy wears sunglasses inside, so
yeah. Well, he probably liked that song about the sunglasses at night from back in the day.
We get a video package / promo with MJF.
Right. And MJF basically told you, oh, we forgot to mention Sting. Sting walked in there.
Oh, yeah, Sting's back.
What do you think they're going to do with him?
My preference?
Yeah, what's your preference?
Wembley.
What's that?
My preference is a retirement match at Wembley with MJF, but I don't think they're going to do it.
Well, or a retirement match with one of their top guys would be nice, you know?
Because Sting can still go. I mean...
Yes, he can. And by most accounts, he's pretty well liked in the business. People like him. He seems to be basically a good guy.
He can't do an hour-long match anymore, but
no,
20 minutes, 15 minutes, sure. Then we get Shivani once again.
Yeah. In the ring with Hook.
I missed the point of this whole thing. It seems like Jungle Hook are back together.
Jungle Hook. There you go. I see. Jungle Hook was so memorable that I'd forgotten about it. But they're going to have him wrestle. What is it? Preston Vance and
Ethan
what do you call him? Drew Listico?
Or somebody. Well,
Preston Vance, who I don't know what the hell's he even doing in that company.
Getting a paycheck.
Well, that's a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that.
I mean, if Tony Khan wants to give him money, not our money. We had another Renee Paquette interview segment. Renee clearly traumatized from the events earlier on in the evening.
With the Outcast.
Renee Paquette clearly just out of therapy after what happened out there earlier.
Yeah.
Renee Paquette disappeared for an hour because, well,
I think Tony Storm cut a pretty good promo here. Her part of it here was pretty good. In the past, I wasn't that big a fan of hers, but in the last couple of months,
Outcast thing is slowly growing.
Even apart from the Outcast, I think she stands out from the group.
Is this Outcast thing growing on you, or is it just
really
me?
Good.
Is this Outcast thing growing on you, or is that just me?
No, it's not growing on me, but Tony Storm as an individual wrestler is.
I think the involvement of the JAS has helped this thing a lot.
Yeah, give it a little shot in the arm.
Involving Cole and Jericho helps this thing a ton. And that's an alignment that makes sense. Jericho with the Outcasts, because Jericho's feuding with Cole and Baker's feuding with the Outcasts. It makes sense that Jericho would be like, hey, do you guys want to help me here? We're going to beat up these two fucking goobers and you're going to help us. Okay. Here's 50 grand. I'm Chris Jericho. I have that in my couch cushion. We got Chris Statlander versus Nyla Rose.
Correct. Why have they paired Nyla Rose with Marina Shafir? Any idea? What's the point? She never talks.
It was Vicky Guerrero. It was Vicky Guerrero, but
right, Vicky. Well, that's a whole other sad story about what's going on with her. That reasons why she's not doing anything publicly right now.
Well, she was going to leave the company anyway.
Yeah, but you've kept up with the news, and those that follow know it's a very, very, very sad state of affairs going on with that family.
A lot of finger pointing.
It's just horrendous,
A lot of accusations being thrown all over the place. If you want to know what's going on in the Vicky Guerrero situation, I encourage you to go watch Solid Monster's video on it because he did a very good video. I will try to have Damon link that. If not, I will try to link it on my Twitter. He does a very good video talking about the Vicky Guerrero situation. I sent it to Russ when it happened. It's very sad.
Sadly, I spent most of my working career working with, human services. And sadly, this kind of division in the family, when something like this happens, it's very common. It's very, very sad, but it's the way it is.
Kind of makes you realize that Special Victims Unit, Law and Order Special Victims Unit, isn't as far-fetched as everybody thinks it is.
Sadly, you're right.
That show's not as far-fetched as everybody wants to think it is.
That's right. But hey, you know, speaking of that show, I missed much.
Me
Belcher,
too.
Belcher, he was a hell of a good comic and actor.
Okay. I have been a total side rant here. I have been watching Special Victims Unit my entire life.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it's quite often a very depressing show. Margaret Haggerty, what's her name?
Mariska Haggerty.
Mariska. Yes, you know, I'm a big fan of the career and the films of her father, Mickey Haggerty, who was a bodybuilder, an actor. He was in some extremely low budget horror films. And of course, her mother, for those of you that don't know, Jane Mansfield.
Well, Mariska Haggerty
was an interesting actress.
Mariska Haggerty, for those of you that don't know, is essentially carrying Special Victims Unit on her back at the moment.
Correct, because everybody else is gone.
I mean, Ice-T is still there because Ice-T has vowed not to leave until Mariska does. But they've resorted to bringing Elliot Stabler back because what other choice do they have?
But if anybody out there wants to, I know this isn't wrestling, but if anybody out there wants to see the most well-known movie of her father, Mickey, who was like I said, an award-winning bodybuilder, check out a low-budget masterpiece called Bloody Pit of Horror.
Me and Russ could probably do an hour a week on Law and Order alone and get no views, but we don't do that.
All right, yeah.
That doesn't, I mean, if somebody in the comments, if people start generating buzz for us to do a Law and Order recap show, I'll do it. I don't care.
Yeah, we'll watch the whole series and then talk about it every week.
I mean, when all three come back in the fall, if you guys want to see us come on here and talk about Law and Order every week, I'll do it. You don't got to pay me for that, but
SVU, Law and Order SVU.
I watch Organized Crime too.
Not the Jerry Orbach one.
I watch Organized Crime and SVU.
All right.
I don't watch the rebooted old Law and Order because I just think it's.
Well, you know, I waste my time watching Hazel and Gilligan's Island for whatever it's worth. And Car 54, where are you?
You really want to waste your time?
Yeah.
Watch the new Law and Order reboot. It's bad.
I've heard it's pretty awful. Yeah.
This past season apparently wasn't as bad, but it's pretty bad.
All right. Well, you know, this is an idea to put out there for our vintage TV and film show, you know.
Hey, if anybody wants to see me and Russ talk about like TV shows beyond wrestling, put it in the comments. Me and Russ can put together a show in 5 minutes. And if you don't believe us, this show, when we created this show and the rebranded version of this show, this came together in all of about, Russ, what was it, 7 minutes?
Yeah.
I mean...
We just met online and talked, and that was it.
I mean, Damon linked us up, and we were doing a show 2 weeks later, so...
There you go.
And now Russ is permanently stuck with me. I'm like a wart.
Permanently, you know, I'm going to die someday.
I'm like a wart on your ass. You can't get rid of me.
Like a boil.
A boil. You can pop me all you want, but I'm just going to keep coming back.
There you go, you pussy fellow here. So we finally talk about the main event. We've wasted enough time on other stuff. Anybody thought our show last week was too short? Don't worry, we're really throwing out.
We're cooking the books here.
I mean, bullshit flows off these two guys like a rubbing sewer pipe, you know.
Oh, we are the kings of bullshit.
All right, let's talk about this main event: Jericho and Saraya versus Dr. Britt Baker and Adam Cole. What do you think of this?
I thought it was a good match.
I'm not a huge fan in general of mixed tag matches.
Nor am I. I'm also not a huge fan in general of 52-year-old Chris Jericho wrestling, but...
Yeah. But it was all right. It could have been worse. it makes sense that Adam Cole won.
I mean, Jericho's had worse matches this year.
I mean, if it would make more. Hey, here's the thing. Why don't you get Chris Jericho and Saraya, who wrestles Saraya's mom and dad?
That would be very funny.
Actually, it would be. You ever seen her parents wrestle?
No.
I've seen footage of it.
Well,
you know, her mom, for an older gal, I'll tell you this, she looks pretty damn good. Saraya's mom looks like a gal that'd be a lot of fun to party with, if you know what I mean.
Well,
makes it sound like an old horn dog, but yeah.
Russ, you sound like an old horn dog every single week.
Oh, I'm sorry. I must be one then.
It's part of your gimmick. Don't apologize.
Okay. That's right. There you go.
Live the gimmick, brother.
I like the old ladies. I like them old.
Well, Jericho gets hit with the boom and got the win. Cole gets the win with the boom, and
that's right.
Jericho looks just insanely upset. And
yeah,
that was the end of that. Let's talk about some other stuff going on here on Lock 22 before we get any further into this damn show. Puck University with Gobo and Tom. They're talking about everything NHL. Yes. They're getting pretty close to the end there, at least for this year.
My learning curve on hockey is growing exponentially thanks to this program, and thanks to my brother Major Tom, who is a huge hockey fan. And yeah, I'm starting to learn to love this game.
Those two have really made me want to do an MLS show.
Well, I tell you what, they have so damn many playoffs, you know. But now, when you understand hockey, you understand where Bill Irwin's gimmick, the Goon, came from.
True. Fun fact, little inside baseball here.
Okay.
Puck University has kind of made me want to do a Major League Soccer recap show. Now, I could never do it on my own, but if ever the opportunity presented itself for me to do an MLS whip around recap show, I would do it. And I would happily do it. Something else I'll happily do is let you talk about your other show, Uncle Russ's Comic Talk.
Uncle Russ's Comic Talk. This program is being recorded Friday evening. Tomorrow, on Saturday, June the 3rd, I'll be in Des Moines, Iowa at the Des Moines Comic Con. I will be interviewing Ming Chen, who many of you know from the AMC series Comic Book Men. I'm going to be having a couple of interview segments with him. Looking forward to that very, very much. There's going to be some other interesting things going on at the convention, so you never know what I might film or who I might talk to. It might be a few surprises in the weeks to come. Uncle Russ's Comic Talk, Lock 22 Productions on YouTube.
I do want to point out that Uncle Russ is going to a Comic-Con. Now, if Uncle Russ is not proof that it doesn't matter how damn old you are, you can still have a good time. You can still have a good time.
Oh, yeah. The older you get, the more fun your life can be. You know, screw that being young crap. I'm done with that. We live in a culture that worships youth.
Well, just a reminder, and I think, Russ, you'll agree with this. Being an adult is a scam.
Exactly.
Can we agree on that?
Yeah. I recently saw a Facebook post where they were like, if you could talk to your 16-year-old self, what would you say? And of course, it's full of all of this bullshit about how the good old days were so much better than they are today. And the kids today don't know anything, and they're also deprived and all this. And I just ran completely counter. I said, hey, if I could talk to my 16-year-old self, I'd say, give in to your baser instincts. Question authority. The system really is trying to fuck you over.
and it will fuck you too.
That's right.
Friday Night Smackdown on Fox.
Yes. I did. I've missed it. I've missed some of this because I have to watch SmackDown on. I don't get it on a streaming service. I get it on through my television antennae. Good old analog TV. And guess what? It was kind of futzy in and out on the first hour, so I may have missed a few pieces of the show. But I think seeing the second hour, I saw the best part of the show.
Well, this show was pretty futzy, if you want me to be honest. Beyond your antenna.
All right.
Also, can we just acknowledge that in 2023, Russ has an antennae?
Exactly. I sure do. You're damn right. I still got a VCR, motherfuckers. I have a DVD player too, but I still have a VCR.
I thought you had a
realize
DVR.
how many tapes are only available on VHS? I've got a shit ton of the old Coliseum videos from WWF, with Sean Mooney and all that.
You do realize you can convert those to DVD now?
Oh, yeah, I know. I'll get around to it one of these days.
Okay. Well, at any
Don't
rate,
worry.
we had SmackDown.
Yes.
We had an Austin Theory segment. I missed this completely. I saw the end of it that led to the tag match.
Correct.
This was a fine tag match.
Pretty Deadly versus and Austin Theory versus Sheamus and Brawling Brutes.
This was so long.
I didn't see the ending of it though. Who won?
Theory and Pretty Deadly. This match was
I assume
almost
they
20.
would.
This match was almost 20 fucking minutes to start the show. Holy shit. This went on forever.
Right.
This match never ended. I mean, wow.
So it was a little boring, huh?
It wasn't boring. It was just certain matches, even if they're fun, can overstay their welcome.
Yes. Definitely.
We get a Heyman segment backstage talking to Solo, saying this is a special night for Roman Reigns and the Bloodline, blah, 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 blah.
Right. And they recapped the whole thing.
We got an OC segment talking about how it was AJ Styles' birthday. Happy birthday, Uncle Alan.
Yeah.
Even though it's not your birthday when this show comes out. But what do you think of the fact that they've got the OC back together? I like it.
I like it, but I couldn't tell you who they wrestled because my TV was out part of that.
Hit Row.
Who?
Hit Row, when it lasted all of about 3 minutes.
Oh, well, yeah, it was pretty inconsequential then. I'm glad they're back together, and I hope they use them more.
I hope they don't put them in a feud with Hit Row.
No, that would be pointless.
And then Pierce is backstage talking to Heyman. And Pierce basically tells him, the Usos aren't here. Their travel got canceled. They're not in the building. Security sweeping the perimeter. Fuck off.
Allegedly.
And then Paul Heyman told Siri to call Roman Reigns.
Right.
Which was hilarious. And then we get the Grayson Waller effect with special guest Asuka.
Asuka. And then
Grayson Waller looked like he wanted to put his head through a brick wall.
Well, and then there was a whole parade of, I knew Bianca would interrupt and come out, and then there was a bunch of others too.
Well, anyway, this all leads to a parade of who I assume will be the Money in the Bank participants.
Probably.
Lacey Evans came out looking like a Sergeant Slaughter knockoff.
Oh, good God. No, I tell you what. I'm surprised she's still around.
I mean, God bless her and everything. I'm sure she's a great person, but Lacey Evans cannot get over to save her life.
Nope. Zelina won that. So we don't want to be Zelina in the Money in the Bank for the women.
I hope Zelina wins that, honestly. We get a great LWO segment backstage celebrating Zelina's win. I love the LWO, man. I love this faction so much.
Yeah, me too.
I think they're great. Then we got LA Knight versus Montez Ford.
Right.
What a match.
This was good.
They only went like 10 minutes, but what a match.
Were you surprised by the winner?
No, because I think he's winning.
Yeah.
LA Knight gets the win with the mic drop.
Well, that would be interesting, you know.
Well, he hit the mic drop and then some stuff happened and ended in a roll up at the end. But Knight got the win, grabbed a ladder, climbed to the top, celebrated, did the LA Knight. Yeah.
Right.
He's got so over.
Yeah, he's good. And
Now,
Montez Ford could really go. It was a good match.
Now, here's what surprised me. They go to break, they come back, and I'll be dipped in liquid shit. King of Kings starts playing, and I'm like, is fucking Triple H coming out here? Because they didn't announce Triple H was going to.
I knew that. Noticed that it was 8:30. There was a half hour left in the show, and I figured the entire last half hour of the show was going to be built around this celebration of 1,000 days.
Well, that's what I thought too, but I wasn't sure why Triple H was out there. I was like,
well, they had to give him that new belt. So are the two? Yeah, he had a new belt, Universal title. What do you think of that?
I think it's the ugliest belt I've ever seen.
So what are they going to do with the other two belts? Retire them?
Have you ever heard of a dumpster?
Yeah, it could
I mean,
be.
you could put that blue one in there for sure.
But you know, he's got a long way to go. I mean, he's been champion for more than 1,006 days, they said. But the longest title reign in WWE history is Bruno Sammartino at 1,237 days. That's quite a.
There's no way he gets there, is there?
That's like let's see, that's 231 more days. I say let Bruno hold that.
I don't know. Here's my thing with that though.
Well, he surpassed Backlund and Pedro Morales, but I think as far as single title, I think Backlund and Hogan and Bruno are still ahead of him.
Okay, let's have the history conversation here because I think it's important. 1,006 days. Where does this put him, at least in your mind, being the historian that you are and the historian that I am? Where does this put him in the all-time list in terms of guys?
It puts him in the top 10 of like the most significant and influential and important championship in the history of that company.
Where does this put him in terms of important people in the history of the company?
Yeah, near the top.
Champions aside.
He's definitely in the top tier. Definitely the number one in the modern era. It's just been like almost 40 years before we had somebody holding the title this long.
Do you think historically he will be viewed as more significant than Cena? By the fans. Not by the company, by the fans.
I hope so. He has surpassed Cena as far as the length of title reign. Cena was up there.
Here's my argument.
I think he's definitely surpassed Hulk Hogan.
Well, yeah.
Bob Backlund.
Here's my argument for Reigns' stature above Cena. Roman Reigns has led this company through a pandemic. That is something John Cena never did.
Yep.
He led them to a ratings boom, the likes of which they hadn't seen in 10 years, if not more.
Right.
He has been a part of arguably the greatest storyline this company has ever done. And really been the architect of it, both in front of and behind the camera.
Yeah.
All well not being on TV every week. I would argue right now, if he were to retire right now, Roman Reigns would be viewed as historically more important than John Cena.
Yeah, I think so too.
No, he doesn't have the 16 world titles.
Doesn't need them.
But the only reason Cena has 16 world titles is because he'd lose it and win it back a month later.
Yeah. That was the era of very, very short title reigns.
Now, where are we on wanting him to drop it? Because I feel like this angle kind of renewed the longevity of his reign.
To me, it all depends on who his opponent is.
I think he is good enough to have a good match with a broomstick. That's not the point. I mean, he could work a broomstick.
Yeah.
And it would probably be fine. He'd make it he'd make the broomstick look good, I'll tell you that.
Sure you would. Yep.
The broomstick could get a visual pin on him.
Yeah.
Roman would go over, but the broomstick would get a visual on him. Where do you rate Roman Reigns in the top 10? Because he's top 10 now.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to think about that for a while before I could give you. I can't come up with a coherent answer right off the top of my head.
He's above Backlund and he's above Hogan.
Yes.
Historically, I don't know that you can put him above Stone Cold yet.
Nope. I don't think so.
I don't know that he's that close, but I think he could get there.
Rock?
I think he's past The Rock a while ago.
I think so too.
I don't know that he's past Triple H yet.
I think you will.
Maybe he already has. I'm open to that discussion. I'll hear that discussion. Yeah. I think Roman is solid 6 or 7 on the list.
Yeah.
I don't think he's cracked 5 yet.
Yeah.
I think it's Roman 6, Rock 7. And then Hogan, San Martino, Backlund.
I put San Martino way above Hogan and Backlund.
I think Hogan's, in terms of significance, more significant because WrestleMania.
Sure.
Things like that.
For the modern era, yeah. And I put Brito in the, right on the cusp of leading up to the modern era.
Is Roman Reigns...
This was an interesting storyline that developed here.
Well, again, and it's like I said, I think this kind of renewed the bloodline thing that felt like it was slowly declining. This kind of felt like a new chapter.
It did.
And it felt like a new story now. Triple H is out there, and Triple H just looks happier than a goose to be out there. And he gets a massive pop.
Yes.
He brings Roman out. There's a pedestal there with what's clearly the new title. And they give him the new belt, and then the Usos music hits, and Triple H gets out of Dodge.
Yep, gets the hell out of there.
They give him the new belt. Triple H puts it on him. And then we go to commercial for the final time. And come back, and Roman and Jimmy are staring a hole in each other.
Yep.
And Roman says, kick him in the face. Talking to Jay.
Right.
He wants Jay to kick his brother in the face. Jay won't do that.
Right.
Roman's like, did I stutter? Is this working? Did you hear me? I said, kick him in the face. And they go on like this for a minute. Jimmy says he's going to protect Jay. That's his brother. He's going to eventually have to protect Solo as well, because eventually Roman is going to toss him to the side the way he does everybody else. Correct. And then the crowd starts chanting, Uso, Uso. And then Roman says the only reason they're chanting your name right now is because of me. And Roman says I run things around here. And as for Solo, why are you talking for him? Let him speak for himself. He hands Solo the mic. Solo says, I acknowledge you, my tribal chief, but they're my brothers. And the crowd pops when Solo walks to the other side. Roman looks like he's going to have a mental breakdown. The crowd is chanting, holy shit, as Jimmy shoves Roman. Jay steps in and starts yelling at both of them.
Stop it. We're brothers.
Jay says they're stronger together. Which, Jay's got a point. They've been stronger as a crew.
Yep. Well, there's cracks in the foundation. I don't think it'll hold. You know, it looks like they might be back together.
No, they're not.
No, it's not going to last.
They're not back together.
They're just prolonging the storyline.
No, well, I don't know if you saw the end of the show here.
Yes, I did.
Well, anyway, Roman looks aggravated. He looks upset. They basically tell Roman, you're on a fucking power trip. Calm down. Right. Roman starts crying, which I thought was fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
It was the best not real cry I've seen ever. Was this the best segment that involved crying in pro wrestling ever?
It's possibly, yeah.
Outside of, like, death tributes. Roman cries, hugs Jimmy, and then all Roman does is he still has the microphone in his hand. He picks up from the hug and he goes, no. And he just says it so matter-of-factly, and Solo Sikoa spikes the shit out of Jimmy. Looks like he about murdered him with his thumb.
Right.
Solo looks like he regretted it.
Right.
Roman's like
uneasy. A lot of tension still.
Roman just says, hey, we gotta go.
Go out of here.
And my favorite part of this is as they're walking up the ramp, Heyman carrying the two old belts says, my tribal chief. What about Jay? And Roman says, Jay will do what he always does. He'll fall in line.
But will he? That's the question.
Jimmy is clearly out of the bloodline at this point.
Yeah. I think, if he does what he always does and falls in line, there's no story.
No, there is no story. Right. And I think eventually this is going to be my friend Devlin suggested. You remember Devlin? He was here for WrestleMania weekend. He thought that this could all lead to a bloodline 4-way for the belt. And I think that would kind of be the way to get the belt on Jey Uso.
Yeah, sure.
If you want to put the belt on Jey Uso, it's the way to do it. Russ, what did you think was the best show this week?
Boy. I guess I would have to say probably Smackdown.
That bloodline segment at the end, really.
Due to the closing segment. Yeah.
SmackDown was very much a one-hit show.
Yeah.
But that one hit was...
It was very significant. It was good.
Loud. That was a loud hit.
Yes.
I think the best overall show was Dynamite, but I think the best segment of the week, the best thing all week was by far the Bloodline segment.
Yeah.
I thought they couldn't have done any better with what they had. And I mean,
yeah,
people are going to say this took too long. They kind of had to do two segments in one here when you think about it.
Right.
Because they had to do the belt thing. And they had to do the bloodline stuff. So it was essentially two segments.
Yes.
This was not one segment. This was two segments crammed into one. Yeah. They probably should have done the belt thing earlier in the night and then done the bloodline thing later. But they didn't do that.
Right.
Overall, I think this was a very fun week. We got a lot of news this week.
Yes, we did.
It seems like Kota Ibushi is probably headed to AEW sooner rather than later.
Bill Goldberg rumored to be headed to AEW, and I hope it's not true.
Well, I'll tell you this. If Goldberg shows up in AEW, I won't know what to think.
Right. They can't be that desperate yet.
I don't think it's desperation. I think it's Tony Khan's a mark.
Yeah. Good point.
I just think that's it. It's the same reason he put the belt on Punk.
Right.
Which never should have happened.
Yep.
Or it should have happened once, and then when he got hurt, he should have just dropped it.
Right.
I was fine with it the first time. But anyway, Russ.
Yeah.
Same old time, same old place next week?
I imagine we're kind of winding down here. Anything else happened this week that we forgot about?
Not that I can think of.
Okay.
Oh, one note, programming note. Never mind. That's not really going to affect us. Never mind.
Okay.
But what isn't a never mind is I want everybody to make sure to like, comment, and subscribe right here to Lock 22. We are here every single week.
That's right.
Talking about pro wrestling. Me and Russ have a ton of fun. For those of you that don't know this, me and Russ did not know each other before this show started.
Right.
We have become friends in the process of doing this. Russ never fails to make me laugh on this show, and I hope he makes you laugh too.
Good.
Uncle Russ is my favorite gimmick.
Thank you.
We're putting Russ over tonight. Because we've gone for 2 fucking hours.
All right. Good deal.
But thank you to our producer, Damon Marvin. Thanks to Uncle Russ. Thanks to everybody who watches the show each and every single week. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We will see you right back here on youtube.com/lock22 and 2 Marks and a Spark.
You got it.
As I like to say each and every single fucking week, Damon, play my motherfucking music. Let's go home.